Alright, as you can see, I picked up a new knife today. It's the Cold Steel Kukri Machete. And I've been wanting one of these for a long time. They're a real budget machete, you know, only $20. But I feel that you get a lot of value for that $20. I mean, because this thing is very well made, and Cold Steel is a good company, and it does basically what it's supposed to do: chop the hell out of things. I mean, and it's not graceful, it's not refined. It basically does its job, and it does it very well. And it's based off of an ancient design that the Nepalese soldiers up in Nepal have been using for hundreds of years to chop off heads. So $20, you can't beat it. I picked it up at New Frontier Armory out in North Las Vegas. It's off of Centennial and 4th, I believe it is. And the last couple of weeks, I think actually the last couple of months, they actually purchased a store that opened up right next to them called Battleborn Tactical. So if you're in the Las Vegas area and you live out in the north area, stop into New Frontier Armory and Battleborn Tactical and check out some of the stuff they got. It's pretty cool because there's no one in the entire North Las Vegas area that sells guns or tactical gear or survival gear or anything like that. Really cool place. Check them out. So let's go ahead and open this thing up. And you know, I'm no knife expert. I never claimed to be a knife expert, but I like knives, and so if I buy one, I'll tell you a little bit about them. Alright, so here's the sheath. As you can see, it's a nylon sheath. Nothing fancy to it, just has a couple snaps, and then a tip protector that's also made out of some type of plastic. It's not the best sheath in the world, but it does the job. It basically lets you put this on a belt loop, and you're on your way. Pretty simple. There's really nothing fancy there. It is a $20 knife. And then unsnap it and it comes right out like that. And there's that classic Kukri shape that everybody loves so much. And as you can see, this thing is made for chopping. It's not a refined small knife that's made for doing fine work. This thing is made to be brutal and heavy and chop, and I'll go out and chop some wood with it and give it a couple whacks and see how it performs. Maybe I'll get some fruit out there and chop that up and simulate some zombie attacks or whatever, but yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I'm sure you could stab with it if you wanted to. It's not really made for stabbing, but you could do it if you had to. It's really a chopping blade. Pretty much this area here is probably your power stroke right there when you do your chopping, because it's very heavy and very thick right there. The spine, it's pretty thick. I mean, it's not the thickest one out there. The actual Kukri machetes made in Nepal by Kukri House would probably be a much better choice for a real Kukri, and those are much thicker, made out of like leaf springs from trucks. But those are also priced at about $75 to $100 on average, where this is only $20. So I think this is a really good value for what you get. I could probably get a K-bar made in America, but again, the K-bar Kukris are going to cost you a lot more. You know, it's going to cost you about, I think those are in the $60 to $80 range. So it's just hard to beat a $20 Cold Steel Kukri at that price point. Let me go ahead and read off some of the specs that are actually printed right here on the packaging. It says here that this is made out of 1055 medium carbon steel. It's got a basic black baked on finish. I'm not exactly sure what that means exactly, but I'm sure it'll rub off eventually like most cheaper knives finishes do. It's 13 inches long, 2.8 millimeters thick, and the handle is actually made out of rubber. It's got a full tang. The pommel end, it's actually flared out, so it keeps the blade in your hand when you're swinging it, and the tighter you grip, the less it has a chance of flying out. Very, very good at retention, that's for sure. It even has a hole there too, so you can put a strap in there, so you can have a lanyard to keep it on your wrist when you're flying this thing around, chopping branches and limbs and whatnot, or zombies or whatever. This is not going to accidentally slip out when it gets wet or sweaty or bloody or whatever. So that's pretty good. And then it just talks about the Cordura black Cordura nylon sheath. Other than that, it's basically it. Not a whole lot to really say about it. It has this huge sticker on there. I think when I take that off, it's probably going to have a lot of glue, so I'll have to get some kind of solvent to get that off. Let's take a closer look at the actual blade itself. And as you can see, very rough. Very, very rough. But like I said, don't expect much out of a $20 machete. I mean, machetes are just caveman simple. There's not a lot to them. And I'll probably have to take a sharpening stone to this to give it a sharper edge, that's for sure. I mean, this will chop through flesh and bone and branches, that's for sure. But to really make this thing practical and effective, it probably will take some sharpening to make that an actual sharpened edge. But once you sharpen it, it's going to grind off that finish, and I'll probably have to make sure I keep it oiled so it doesn't get rusted or anything like that. That's cool. Sucker is badass. I like this thing. So these cold steel Kukri machetes are basically just awesome $20 choppers, that's for sure. And to some people's surprise, you might think that this is made in China or Taiwan, but actually, if you look right there on the sticker, it says cold steel high performance knives made in South Africa. So that's a good thing. You know, I'm not a big fan of anything made in China or Taiwan, and a lot of knives are actually made in China and Taiwan, and it's hard to find budget knives at the $20 price point that aren't made in China or Taiwan. So the fact that this is made in South Africa is just a nice perk. That's awesome. So if you come across the Kukri Machete, they come in two styles too. There's actually a bigger one, but this one's a little bit more handier as far as keeping it on you and swinging it in tight spaces. But if you come across one of these cold steel Kukri machetes, I'd definitely say pick one up for 20 bucks. You really can't say no to that. That's a lot of bang for your buck. So that's nice. I like this. This will come in handy for my bug out bag, my shit hits the fan bag. That definitely would come in handy. Chop some wood to make some fire, keep us warm, and also fight that zombie apocalypse that may come. You never know. Alright guys, as usual, stay safe.